My name is Tanya Sava. I am an emotional freedom technique and matrix re-imprinting practitioner. EFT, or commonly known as tapping, is a really simple, gentle, easy and accessible practice that anybody can do to help relieve physical and psychological symptoms, dis-ease, dysfunction in the body. EFT is a combination of Western psychology meets Eastern traditional Chinese medicine philosophy. In traditional Chinese medicine, it is believed and said to be many energetic pathways in the body which are called meridians. And these energetic pathways run the whole way through the body and intersect all of the vital organs and are deeply correlated to and related to emotions. Anytime we have had an emotional disturbance in our life, a shock, trauma, major disease or illness, loss, death, anything that happens in our life that creates a disturbance in the free-flowing energy in our body, we can create a sense of stagnation, stuckness, or difficulty in energy continuing to freely move throughout the system. EFT, a little bit like acupressure or acupuncture, uses kinetic energy or moving energy to literally tap into and send vibration and energy back into the body to help create a free flow state of energy. I like to think of the analogy of a hose, and when you have a hose that is nice and straight and ironed out, the water freely flows through it. But as soon as there is a kink in the hose, the water cannot move through and it gets stuck and stagnant and it pulls around in that kink. EFT or tapping is a process of ironing out the kinks in the energy body so the energy can freely flow and move again. The tapping process is very simple and taps on key energetic points or parts of these meridian pathways in the body to help create a free flow state of energy in the nervous system, the emotional body, the physical body, and the mental body. So the EFT tapping points, just like in acupuncture or acupressure, are specifically targeting places where these energetic pathways intersect and cross and are deeply related to these energetic and emotional connections within the body. The tapping points are the side of the hand, the top of the head, in between the eyebrows, the side of the eye, under the eye, under the nose, on the chin, on a collarbone, underneath the armpit, and the sides of each finger. Now, it does not matter if you swap hands or which side of the body you tap on. It also doesn't really matter if you miss some of the tapping points, as long as you're getting most of them. One technique I like to teach people is in environments where it might feel a little bit strange or awkward or uncomfortable to be sitting there tapping yourself, is to just use the tapping points on the sides of the fingers. That way you can keep your hand resting on your lap, even in your pocket, and you can tap onto and access most of the energetic pathways here in the hand. There are some statements that can be said when using the EFT protocol to help specifically unlock and understand where the dysfunction or the dis-ease or the syndromes or the pain is coming into the physical, mental, and energetic body. I'm going to use an example of having a feeling of anxiety to help explain the process. So imagine I have a feeling of anxiety. And when I connect with my body and I check in with what this anxiety feels like in my body, it feels really bubbly and like I'm going to vomit. And this feeling sits in my stomach. And so then I use this information. I use the physical symptoms and the descriptors that I can use to describe that sensation in my body as a way to use the words in the setup statement as I'm going through the process. So when I think about anxiety, feel like I'm going to vomit, tingly feeling in my belly, and then 2 questions. If that feeling had a color, what would it be? And the first thing that comes to mind is blue. If that feeling had a shape, what shape would it be? And the first thing that comes to mind is a swirl. So then I use that information, and you start by tapping on the side of the hand, and you start here to use the setup statement. And these are the words. Even though I have this anxiety in my stomach, this feeling like I'm going to vomit, this swirl, this blue feeling of anxiety, I can choose to let it go, it's safe to let it go, and I love and accept myself anyway. And then I repeat that. Even though I have this anxiety in my stomach, this feeling like I'm going to vomit, this blue swirl, I choose to let it go, it's safe to let it go, and I love and accept myself anyway. And then you can move through the tapping points whilst continuing to use the words and the descriptors of that sensation. All this anxiety, this feeling like I'm going to be sick, this feeling in my stomach, it's blue, this swirl, I choose to let it go, it's safe to let it go. All this anxiety, I choose to let it go, it's safe to let it go. Blue anxiety, swirl, blue anxiety, swirl, I choose to let it go, it's safe to let it go, and I love and accept myself anyway. And you can do that as many times as you need, and then you take a deep breath. And I check back in with that sensation. One way to create a really tangible understanding of whether or not the EFT is helping is before you begin is to just check in and ask yourself on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being the worst it could possibly be and 0 being absolutely no sensation whatsoever, what would it be? And if I had done that, let's say it was a 7, and after a little bit of tapping, I check back in and it's down to a 3. So it's created a change, but it hasn't gotten it down to 0. What's also important is that you then check in to see if any of those descriptive words have changed. So if I sit with it, it's like the anxiety is still there. I no longer feel like I want to vomit. It just feels a little bit uncomfortable. And now it's a yellow triangle. And then you use that information. The anxiety is still there. That yellow triangle, that feeling of anxiety in my stomach. I choose to let it go. It's safe to let it go. And I love and accept myself anyway. And then you continue until you feel ready to take a moment to pause, take a deep breath, and check back in. And you want to keep on going until you're down to 0. If you're working with a practitioner, there is a more fuller experience that can be worked through using the EFT protocol. But if you're doing it as something for yourself at home, you can use it in whatever way you like and for whatever you like. It can be for things like feelings of depression, for procrastination, for excessive eating, for a lack of sleep, feeling exhausted, tired, anxious, depressed, distracted, overwhelmed, physical pain in the body, if you have migraines, headaches, anything that's being physically experienced in the body, you just have to find the words to describe it, and then you can use the tapping to help move it through. For symptoms of things like anxiety, depression, really common and frequently experienced day-to-day feelings of mental disturbance, it can also be really powerful. And you just continue to use that practice and you keep checking in. Where am I at right now? It's a 7. Tap, 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 tap. Where am I at right now? It's a 4. Tap, 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 tap. Where am I at right now? And you keep on going. What can happen is once you've moved that, so for example, if I had continued and the anxiety completely went away, but then all of a sudden I had a feeling, for example, in my throat. Maybe it was a feeling of constriction or tightness. So you use the information in the body and you kind of follow or chase the sensations or the pain, if there is physical pain, to take you deeper and deeper and deeper into the body. So if I was feeling anxious as a superficial experience and I tapped that away down to 0, but then something else came up in the body, I would then use that as an example. One thing that can start to happen when you start to create and discharge the excess energy is things like the body yawns or purges in ways like burping, passing wind. You might get gurgling sensations in the stomach, yawning, sighing, All of those things are physical indicators that you are creating a shift and a change in your nervous system and in your energy body. It's nothing to be concerned about. You can feel quite tired after doing a session, but if you were really tired and you were tapping to get rid of the tiredness, hopefully you then feel really energized. So it can be used for whatever you need in any given moment. And if you don't remember any of those setup statements, it is absolutely okay. You can just tap and just talk about or check in with whatever you're feeling. And it might just be that you're just feeling really tired. And you could just be saying, feeling really tired. Choose to let it go, safe to let it go. Just all this tiredness, I just want it to go. Choosing to let it go. I just want it to go. And you just keep on moving through. You can tap as a practice every morning to get you ready for the day. It can be a great way to discharge anything that you're holding on to from your day before you go to sleep. It is such an easy, simple, and powerful tool. I hope that describes this in a way that helps you understand it and use it in your daily life or practice. And many of my clients use this as part of their meditation practice and as part of their setup practices for their day ahead. Thank you for watching. I hope that's super helpful. Don't hesitate to send me an email or reach out if you have any questions. And if you're interested in working one-on-one, you can simply connect with me via my website. It's www.tanyasava.com.